Hey everybody, it's time for another Real Talk with Cullen. We're going back on the Norse mythology train. I'm going to give a brief introduction to the gods. There are a lot, so I'm going to divide it between one video for the gods, one video for the goddesses, and I'm just going to try and keep it brief and rate them, just give you my general opinion on these deities. I'll be rating them on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Starting with Odin, he is the All-Father and leader of Asgard, god of war, wisdom, poetry, magic, hunting, death. A lot. He has an 8-legged horse that he rides, and he is just always disguising himself as like a pilgrim and looking for new wisdom and learning to gather all the wisdom he can to try and prevent the end of the world. He gave up his eye in order to gain wisdom and try and prevent Ragnarok. In Valhalla, he gathers the souls of the bravest warriors to help fight in his final battle against the forces of evil. He's like kind of a dick, like not as much as Zeus, and he's kind of like a mean, dark Gandalf who wanders around and learns things and can also sort of see the future, but like not entirely. Yeah, so like not a huge fan, so 2 stars. The most popular god that we know of in Norse mythology is Thor. He's the god of thunder who is famous for his red beard and his hammer Mjolnir. Like, you probably think I'm doing this as a joke, but like, Mjolnir? Like, this is actually a struggle I have. Mjolnir. He has this hammer that the dwarves made. The dwarves made it, and it's the thunder hammer, and it's so heavy and crazy that only he can wield it. He drives around in his chariot of goats, and when he's hungry, he can eat the goats and then re-put them back together, so he always has food. He is really like the lovable idiot of the pantheon. He fights all the frost giants and monsters and protects the world, but he isn't the brightest bulb in the box. And giants and Loki play tricks on him all the time. He travels around with Loki, and it's probably because he is dumb that he needs the help from Loki's cunning, but also like puts up with all of Loki's shit because like he probably doesn't need all that drama in his life, but like Thor puts up with it anyways. Yeah, peasants really loved Thor, like because he brought thunder and like helped their crops. He was really popular, and he like is super badass, so like he's popular in movies and he's in a ton of stories, so he's probably the most popular god. That being said, he's not my favorite, but he's dumb but nice, which I like, so that's 3 stars. Good for you, Thor. Loki. Loki, in my mind, is not played by Tom Hiddleston, and even if he was, I still would not like Loki at all. He sucks. Forget the whole like Marvel comics, like Loki and Thor are brothers and like Odin's a neglectful father. Loki is like this weird giant god, sort of the god of like mischief and maybe fire, but like not, but he's like the son of the giants, and him and Odin like took blood out of each other's veins and put it in like their veins, so they're blood brothers. So like he lives in Asgard and he like helps the gods out sort of, but just over time his pranks like get deeper and deeper and darker, and Loki's just always looking out for number 1, so he will screw everyone else over in order to get what he wants, and he's just the worst. For all you people who are still like, OMG, he's misunderstood, OMG, he's Tom Hiddleston, let's list some things that Loki has done. He, just for no reason, shaved the long golden hair of Thor's wife Sif, just like, cause why not? He just came in her room and shaved her hair at night, so that's creepy. Speaking of breaking into people's rooms, he broke into the room of the goddess Freya disguised as a fly to steal her gold necklace she got from the dwarves in order to slut-shame her to Odin and all of Asgard. So he just like creeped on her and like took stuff off of her body while she slept. Great, so romantic, cute, Tumblr loves him. Has a loyal wife, but he produced monsters with a troll witch, including a giant serpent, a giant wolf, and the goddess of hell. In order to save his own skin, he helped a giant kidnap the goddess of youth, who the gods relied on to stay immortal. He just helped kidnap her because he needed to save his own ass. He framed someone else for the murder of Balder, the most beloved of the gods. Why did he kill Balder? Just to ruin everyone else's day, because everyone loved Balder, so he's just like, I'm gonna help kill him because like that'll make everyone else sad, and I'll just frame it on this other guy. They try and get Balder back from the afterlife, and then he's the one that sabotages that plan to get him back from the afterlife. So he just like ruins Asgard for everybody, and like then he goes to a party when they finally start to feel better about Balder dying, and then like throws a bunch of shade at them and like slut shames them and like calls them like whores and cowards and stuff, and like says he had sex with all their wives just like because he likes to ruin people's times. He also kills a couple servants at this party. Oh, and then at the end of time, he will lead all the dead and demons and giants on a giant boat made of the toenail clippings of the dead to destroy Asgard and the world and bring about eternal darkness. So he's just a huge dick. He is just the worst. He sucks. So he's basically Satan. I give him -500 stars. Balder is basically what you would get if you combined Apollo and Jesus. He's the god of light, beauty, goodness, mercy, forgiveness, day, good things, happy times. Everyone loves him. He's beautiful. Son of Odin and Frigg, his wife, and like he's just the best. He has these dreams that he's gonna die. His mother like makes everything swear not to harm him, so like he can't be harmed. But then she forgets to ask mistletoe because it just seems so insignificant. And Loki's like, I'm gonna make a spear out of mistletoe and give it to somebody else and have them throw it at Balder. So all the gods are like throwing stuff at him because like he's immune. But then the mistletoe hits Balder and he dies and he goes in the underworld. After Ragnarok, he will return from the land of the dead and build a beautiful new world where he is the main god. So yeah, some people debate how much the Christian writers of the Norse myths altered Balder's personality or made Balder basically Jesus. I'm rating him Jesus stars. Hoder is Balder's twin brother. He's the god of darkness, and he's blind. He's the one that Loki frames for killing Balder. He gives him mistletoe and has him throw it because Hoder can't throw stuff because he's blind, so he's like missing out on everyone throwing things at Balder, and Loki's like, hey, here's something to throw at him. That'll kill him, psych, and then the other gods take revenge on him and kill him. But Balder is forgiving and loves his brother, and Hoder will actually come back at the end of time and help rule the new world, so I guess good for him. 4 stars. Usually when I started reading these myths, when I was like 11 or 12, I just sort of picked my favorite god, and they've pretty much stayed the same. So this is who I picked when I was 12, and I've learned more about him as I got older, but it still hasn't changed, so that's interesting. He is Freyr. He's one of the Vanir gods, who are like the earth gods. He joined the Aesir. He is the god of fertility, sunlight, the harvest, rain, crops, peace, prosperity, and elves. So like, that's a million awesome things about him. He has a giant golden boar named Gullinbursti that he rides around. He had a sword that he would use to kill the fire demon Surt to prevent Ragnarok, but he gave it up for his true love, the giantess Gerda, that he saw one day while sitting on a magical chair. And their love story is a metaphor for the spring sun melting the frost. But yeah, he gave up his sword and doomed the whole world to burn, so that's a little bad. He rules over the elves in Alfheim, so he has an elf entourage, including elves that are basically named like beans, dairy, and beekeeping. So who doesn't want to be best friends with a god whose entourage is all about dairy and beekeeping? I mean, I would. The royal house of Sweden is descended from him, allegedly, and he's actually one of the most popular gods along with Odin and Thor. It's like Odin, Thor, and Freyr were like the big three, because like Freyr was fertility and farming, which is pretty important. But considering he rules magical fairy elf people and is the god of like peace and sunlight, he is not as popular in our more modern, metal, badass interpretations of Norse mythology. So Odin, Thor, and Loki get the whole spotlight. He just sort of like maybe is in there, maybe sort of, probably not, forgotten, but he was like one of the most important gods. Yeah, like all the myths talk about how great and awesome and beloved he was. He's known for having a very large penis, things I didn't know when I was 12 and I picked him as my favorite, but apparently if you're looking at like ancient Norse artifacts, you can tell it's a statue of Freyr because there's a giant penis on it, because he was the god of virility. And people would sing lewd songs and do sexual things in his rituals. He also, people say, like, had sex with his sister. But like all the gods came and they saw it and it was like they had a good laugh about it. That's how the story goes. So they're like, yeah, no big deal, you know, people have sex sometimes. So it wasn't that weird to them. But yeah, maybe that's another reason why he's not the most popular god for modern interpretations. But I still think he's my favorite. He's the best of the Norse gods. So I give him 100 stars. The best. Boom. Freyr's the best. Oder is the husband of Freyr's sister Freya. And he wanders a lot because he's mad that his wife slept with some dwarves to get a magical necklace, which I guess like he's kind of has a right to be upset about, but he just kind of wanders, and she weeps tears of gold and searches the world for him. She never finds him. So he's kind of a jerk. So how about 1 star? Njord is Freyr and Freya's father, and one of the most powerful Vanir gods. He's the god of the sea, like calming the waves and the wind. He loves the beach and seagulls, and he hates the mountains because after having Freyr and Freya with his sister Nerthus, and like the Aesir weren't as cool with being married to your sister, so like she stayed back in Vanaheim, sort of. That's how the story goes. He later marries the giantess Skadi because she came was like, make up for killing my father. You have to do these things to make me laugh. So like Loki like tied his dick to a goat, and the goat dragged him about, and that made her laugh. And then she's like, I get to choose a husband, and she wanted to pick Balder. But Odin and Loki were like, you can only look at everyone's feet. So they put all their feet out, and she's like, ooh, like this guy's really hot feet. He's probably Balder. Turns out it's Njord. The sea god just likes to exfoliate. So she's married to Njord. She likes to live in the mountains. He likes to live by the sea. Doesn't work out super well, but there's a great story about them complaining about wolves and seagulls and which one is louder and which is the better place to live. So they're basically the odd couple of Norse mythology. Yeah, so 5 stars for really smooth feet. Uller is the god of skiing and hunting, who like people like mad respected and was apparently used to be a big deal, but like isn't that much of a big deal anymore. We don't know much about him other than he's like related to Thor's wife. Other than that, IDK 3 stars. Tyr is like the one-handed god of like war, like he's like the honor war to like Odin's like crazy blood killing everybody war. And he lost his hand because he put it in Loki's giant wolf's child mouth to be like, oh, like we won't tie you up. Then when they did tie him up, he like bit his hand off. So that was like the first and last time Tyr broke a promise. Yeah, but he's like super chill. Like he's always around, but he's not a drama queen like Odin and Thor and stuff. So 4 stars. Bragi is the god of poetry. He's basically like the D&D bard because he can't do shit. So 1 star. Heimdall is the watchman of the gods. They called him the white god because people think he was possibly like a god of like sunlight. But he could see everything. He could hear the grass grow and the sheep's wool grow. So I assume he was driven insane by hearing people who click their teeth when they talk and chew, and just listening to that, he probably went mad. But he has a giant horn that he will blow before Ragnarok, and he sees all, and he watches over the Rainbow Bridge and can see who is approaching Asgard. This is why I like him. He can't stand Loki and all of Loki's drama, and he helped Freya when Loki was trying to slut-shame her. He will one day, at the end of time, kill Loki. The Loki will also kill him, but he's like gonna finally duke it out and like finally get rid of Loki, so like good for him. Here's a negative thing about Heimdall is that he allegedly created the entire Norse caste system, like while walking around and visiting people, so but yeah, but other than that, he's cool. 5 stars. He's gonna kill Loki. Hermod is like the god of haste or something. He rides Odin's horse to hell for him to try and get Balder back. So I guess he did that. Meh stars. Vidar is the silent god. He will avenge Odin's death at the end of time. Like when Odin is devoured by the Fenris wolf, Loki's giant wolf kid, he will curb stomp that wolf with his giant foot. The silent god is pretty quiet, but he does collect pieces of leather to make his giant shoe that will one day kill the giant wolf that could destroy the world. So Norse peasants would save their leather and offer it to Vidar to be part of his giant shoe to curb stop this wolf. So for that, I'm giving him 4 stars. Vali is the god of vengeance, but he's also kind of like, I don't know, lame, because like Odin has Vali in order to avenge Balder's death, but all Vali does is kill Hoder, who really was just tricked, and it's not Hoder's fault at all. So like, no stars for you, Vali. Then we have Forseti. He's Balder's son and the god of justice. Boring. Those are basically the main Norse gods. We'll talk about the goddesses next time, and those are my very objective ratings of them. Hope you enjoyed this video. Tune in next Tuesday for another Real Talk with Cullen. Let me know who your favorite Norse god is down below in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe for more fun Real Talk with Cullen. Bye.